Hello, today we want to talk about storage devices as this is our final topic on the elements of a computer system for ITEC 098. So towards the end of this unit, we'll be able to identify the types of storage devices and their storage capacity. So this is an example of what a storage device is, or what is storing. The storing is the whole concept of writing or saving to a medium. And opening or reading is also considered as the inflow and outflow in terms of a medium itself. So we're going to talk about random access memory when we talk about the whole concept of opening a file from a storage medium, and we'll discuss different types of storage mediums so as well. And when you're saving information or the process of writing information is considered as what you call storing and storage devices. So we have to identify exactly what we mean by storage devices. But before we do that, we want to talk about the capacity, which is measured in bits, bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. And a lot of you will be familiar with gigabytes because most of the memory cards that are beyond sale today are actually measured in gigabytes. So basically, there's a relationship between the measurements of 8 bytes. We have something what you call pace value. So we have the 2 bytes, 4 bytes, 8 bytes, 16 bytes, 32 bytes, and so on. So we look at 8 bytes as 1 byte and 1024 bytes as 1 kilobyte. 1024 kilobytes is 1 megabyte, and so on. Right? But we are right now still in the stage of gigabytes and terabytes. Later on, we will get more further into petabytes and so on. So, one of the activities that you will do in the exam is to place the measurement units in terms of the largest, all right, from the smallest to the largest. So, you're going to see that actually in the exam. So, this is the opportunity that you will get to rearrange when we start to talk about storage devices in the exam itself, but we're going to be explaining it a little bit more in detail as we proceed with this course. So, storage devices using computer system. We have primary storage, right? The two different types, so it's considered as ROM and RAM. We're going to talk about that. And then we have auxiliary storage, which is basically for backing up storage, which will deal with hard disks, flash drives, external hard disks, CD-ROMs, and USB flash drive. Because most of the times we're going to be talking about USB flash drives and hard disk. Right? So we have two different types. We have main storage and backup storage or backend storage, all right, or main storage or main memory or backup memory in terms of auxiliary devices. So the main storage, we will talk about ROM and RAM, right? And we'll talk about what RAM and ROM means. And then in backup storage, we'll talk about hard drives and flash drives and so on. All right. You could always fill in these blanks here, but again, you don't necessarily need to do it here. You're going to deal with it at the exam. All right. So when we talk about main storage or primary storage, we look at two basic components of the computer system, which is read-only memory, which is ROM, right, which cannot be changed and is normally used for operating system setup instructions. It retains the memory of the operating system and whatever information would have been stored, like ROM information, information that is on the board, and so on. So ROM is basically non-volatile, and it is why it is considered as non-volatile because it means that memory would not be erased, it will not be lost. The instruction sets of the computer system is normally stored in ROM. So anytime they ask that question what ROM is, you basically would say ROM being non-volatile is memory that cannot be changed. On the other hand, now RAM now is considered as volatile, means that it could only RAM is only present only when memory power is on. So my question I always have to ask is what is RAM? RAM is when you see the pictures and text on a screen. Those information is stored in RAM. So basically, information that is lodged on a CD-ROM, like music, whatever the case may be, In order for you to hear the music, it has to be in RAM. So you're hearing it in RAM. That is what RAM is. If you are watching a video from a DVD or from your your Android box, whatever the case to be, it would be stored on your Android box. But in order for you to get the pictures and songs that are seen on your television, that is considered as RAM, right? So that is what random access memory means. It's main memory where whenever you retrieve information or data and you want to see what the information, the picture, the text, the actual video, the music, the song, all that is stored in RAM. But the only thing about random access memory, it is very volatile. It means that when power goes off, there is absolutely no RAM. So all data is lost. Right, so this is an example of RAM chips, right, and ROM chips too as well. So this would be your whole entire thing here would be a RAM chip, this thing here, and then these little black things in the center is considered as ROM chips that are hard coded into the RAM chips itself now, right? So spinning off now on random access memory and ROM, we talk about auxiliary devices like your flash drive, your hard disk, which is basically used now to store your data files, your software application files, your operating systems, and so on. So normally when you buy a computer system, it will always come with a hard disk, and that hard disk will have a pre-installed Windows 10 or Windows 11, whatever the case may be now. But it's basically used for back-end store or auxiliary store. So because information in RAM is being lost, you could always save that information by writing to the backup disk or the backend storage, which could be a random disk or a flash drive. And if you want to retrieve the information, it will read it off and then store in RAM. Right? So this is an example of a hard disk. All right. It have smaller disk than this as well. So you could always Google it and look at different types of hard disks as well. All right. These are some of the activities that you're going to get in the exam itself. All right. I will also post up this slide. All right. And I will let you all know when you all will identify these things. But however, you don't need to identify this in the activity because the exam that you're going to be doing next week online has all this information, and you will need to know what is RAM, what is ROM, what is a CD-ROM, what's a hard disk, and so on. Some of the information that you all already know just from your day-to-day work now. All right. And again, you can see they also have the answers here available to make it a lot easier for you all and as a preamble in doing your exam. All right. So long-time users have something called a floppy disk, which also used to transfer information from RAM and write it into the floppy disk as a backend store to save your files and data files and so on. We no longer use this anymore. We use what you consider as flash drives, and many of you all will be familiar with flash drives and so on. Long time users have magnetic zip tapes too as well, which you will not be examining on it. Yeah, right? And these are magnetic zip tapes that you use well basically used to use these things when I was younger in the field of computer science, but they don't have them anymore. I'm just showing you all this as an example of backend storage devices that offers what you consider as storage devices for saving data and so on. Right? So most of the magnetic devices that we know would be your hard disks, your flash drives, and so on. Your portable hard drives, which is a thing that everybody using now, right? And of course, your memory stick, your memory card. Everybody's walking around with a flash drive, right? These are some of your magnetic tapes, and they normally use this like for batch processing. Tape listing. For the sake of this course, we don't really necessarily need to talk about that in much detail, but you could always YouTube a topic on tape in terms of tape listing and so on, and what tapes is normally be used for in storing information. Long time tapes used to be used to store music, but it actually got phased out by the CD-ROMs and so on. All right, but the tape also have an advantage because normally with things that are normally stored on tape normally have a tendency to last longer, and they consider tape listing as serial access mediums, not direct access mediums. And again, for the sake of this course, we don't necessarily need to get into detail in terms of what we mean by direct access and serial access, but I will tell you all nonetheless, Direct access is basically what you would get from a flash drive, hard disk, or CD-ROM. You could go directly to the file and retrieve it. Whereas serial access is where you'll have to play the tape to a certain area where you probably would want to either hear a certain song or you want to get a certain type of file structure, whatever the case be. That's what tape listens. So you'll have to actually rewind and or fast forward. It depends now. All right, in order for you to find the type of information that you're looking for.